Gosh, quite a few projects. One that's just finished up that was one of my favourites, I think, that continued some work around exploring young people, children and young people, and their views around family and domestic violence, and I guess exploring their views about what they needed to support them. And there's been a wonderful release of a video and a booklet sharing the views of kids, and I was really proud to be part of that project because I think they've turned it into an amazing piece of work that will really shape what we can do around young people and children and how they see family violence and domestic violence so differently. I've been part of the Domestic Violence Prevention Council for many years, so really working in spaces there to try and get some changes in areas that we don't do very well in the ACT. We're so small and it's sometimes hard, and trying to really get that off the ground. And recently I've been nominated as the ACT rep on the National Prevention of Violence Hub. So I'll be the ACT rep for that, so sort of playing in that prevention space, which it's really hard sometimes to do because we focus so much on the back end. I think the positive change is people talking about it a lot. I think in Australia we've been really lucky that we had Rosie Batty, who people could listen to and understand. She was able to articulate her experience in a way that I think reminded people this could happen to anyone. So I think that's been a really positive change. In our own jurisdiction, I think in the last few years we've achieved a lot around domestic and family violence. The Family Safety Hub, I think, is the classic example, and while not everyone knows about the Family Safety Hub, I think what it's enabled is some really good work around listening to women, listening to men, listening to a variety of people affected, and starting to do some co-design work and testing things to see if they work, rather than just rolling out responses that people think might work. They've really tested it. So there's been some really good and innovative things, and I think it's also enabled a real focus across the public service. And so there's been some great stuff that we've also been working on around making sure that people in, for example, the health system actually understand domestic violence and that they respond well. So I think we've done a lot. There's always too much to do, but I think the bits and pieces that are starting to move on and keep on progressing are really hopeful. Yes, lots, but I think the one that I feel we haven't done well enough, because it is a hard space, but also in light that we lost Sue Salthouse recently. She's always been a passionate advocate in this area, and we've worked with her for many years, and I'm still sad that we haven't moved on. The responses that would be really valuable to women who are trapped in their homes because they're relying on a partner to meet a lot of their needs because of a disability, and that it's really hard, especially with the NDIS and how that impacts and intersects, for those women to actually leave all of the equipment that they need to function behind if they leave, and take a long time to actually get it. So I know that there were long conversations with Sue about how that might happen. It'd be good to be able to move some of that on in the ACT. This is an easy one for me because I grew up with some of these women. When Susan Ryan first became a minister, the first woman minister, I was, 16 years old, and I thought, oh my God, women can do this. And as I got out of high school, and realised that I probably couldn't get a job in something like the public service, because at that stage you weren't allowed to join if you were married or had kids, and at that stage I was contemplating marriage. So for me, I saw Susan Ryan when she then went on to become the first Minister for Women, and then did the Sex Discrimination Act. For me, it was at a time when I had opportunities opened that would not have been there before. That included considerations about education when you left high school. So I think, yeah, I saw her when I was young as someone opening up the way for someone like me. I think I love listening. I have a saying, and I think it applies to both those women and how they did things. And it was Ruth, and it was fight for the things you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you. And I think both of those women showed how you can actually get change and lead the way, be passionate, be strong as women, but reminding that you do have to work with others and bring them along. And I think both of those women really showed that you could move gender equality along with the passion, but also knowing that you've got to bring people with you. I think anyone who works in this space is someone to be admired. It's a really hard space. It requires a lot of skill, it requires a lot of passion, but it is a hard space, and so I think anyone who works in the space I admire. I know it's easy to identify people who are in high-level jobs and whatever, but I think it's the people on the ground who really make the difference in this space and who enable people to live their lives in a better way. So for me, it's anyone who's involved in that whole area. It's not individuals who might, by virtue of their position, get there.